it's been a while since a wild Pokemon game appeared. I think we're overdue for one.
Pokemon, let's go!
No, stay. We're doing a review.
Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee is the first big Pokemon game on the Switch. You play as a fresh young Pokemon trainer who's traveling the region to study Pokemon, battle other trainers, and become the best, like no one ever was. It's so great to finally have a new Pokemon game.
Technically speaking, Rad, it's games. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee are two separate titles, despite being extremely similar. The games take direct inspiration from Pokémon Yellow, which was released in Australia on the Game Boy Color in 1999. In fact, they recreate the same Kanto region with many of the same characters and the original 151 Pokémon that featured in Yellow. The most obvious difference between the two Let's Go titles is whether your starting Pokémon is Pikachu or Eevee, but there are also certain Pokémon that will only appear in the wild in each version.
Yeah, but Daz, I've never been a huge fan of the dual release because I always feel like I'm missing out on something.
Ah, well, Goose, you can't have it all.
But I've got to catch them all.
I'm sure you will one day, Goose. Your chosen Poke Buddy walks around the world with you, and you can play with them by petting them or even dress them up. Ooh, so cute!
This helps you bond with your Pokemon, which makes them perform better in battles. And when you're not battling other trainers, you'll be hunting down wild Pokemon, which, in a nice change, now appear roaming around the world. And I really liked this because it removes the randomness and even lets you run away from some encounters. Ah, get away!
Let's Go also incorporates some gameplay mechanics from the mobile game Pokémon Go, most notably the catching. You need to throw your Pokeball with a flick of the Joy-Con, land it inside the moving circle, and you get a catch bonus.
Brad, I wasn't a fan of this at all. First of all, the controls. You can't use the Pro Controller or Joy-Con grip when docked. Instead, you're forced to use a single Joy-Con or the special Pokeball controller, which is sold separately. It feels silly using a single Joy-Con, and it's not comfortable. Secondly, in classic Pokemon games, you would have to battle wild Pokemon to lower their health before catching them. And battling requires strategy, which is way more fun to me than throwing a ball at a circle. It's all overly simple, and it feels very repetitive.
I felt that way too at first, and because I've played so much Pokemon Go, seeing even more of that circle felt very tedious. But I grew to like it. Your Pokemon still get XP for catches, and it's all a little faster. Yes, it does mean you're catching dozens of the same Pokemon, but you can trade them into Professor Oak for candy. Oh, delicious candy.
They're for the Pokemon, Rad, not for you. Feeding these candy to your Pokemon upgrades various stats. I will admit that this made doubling up feel better because at least the spares are still useful.
Yeah, and the candies let you power up any Pokemon, so you don't have to worry so much about comparing their individual stats, like you do in Pokemon Go. In fact, the two games are quite strongly linked, with Let's Go allowing you to import Pokemon from Go into special Go Parks, where you can interact with them. Unfortunately, linking accounts wasn't available when we reviewed this, but it sounds like a cool way to beef up your collection.
Yeah, it does. But Rad, I can't help but feel this whole game is a bit half-baked. For instance, the Pokeball controller is too basic, with only 2 buttons and a joystick, while you have to shake it to press the Y button. It took me ages to figure that out, which was really frustrating. All the on-screen prompts in the game are for the regular Joy-Con. It's just an oversight considering that the Pokeball was designed for this game.
Oh, I loved the Pokeball. It made me feel like a real Pokemon trainer. It's also more comfortable to hold and more accurate to throw than the Joy-Con. When linked to Pokemon Go, it apparently can be used to catch Pokemon or automatically spin Pokestops for you. I can't wait to try that out.
There are also some multiplayer elements in Let's Go. You can trade to get game-exclusive Pokemon or battle with friends, but you don't get anything from winning those.
You can also connect 2 controllers to the game and have a second player help you in battle. It's nice to give you a bit of an advantage, but I think I'd be very bored as player 2.
Brad, I think I'm bored of this overall. It's a very tired formula to me. And because it's based on an earlier Pokemon title, some of the updated features from later games don't seem to be present here at all. Sure, I really enjoyed Pokemon Yellow when it came out. It felt like such an adventure, but this is more or less the same game with just a new lick of paint. Although it is a good lick, the game looks great.
Oh, doesn't it just? I can see how this feels old with dated gameplay systems, but to me it also feels streamlined. I was worried I'd be bogged down in stats trying to find and keep the best Pokemon, but that doesn't seem to be the case. Instead, I can just get to catching and training and riding my Onix in town.
If the Switch is your first console and you've never actually played a Pokemon RPG before, then this is a fantastic way to enter the series. But it's just too much of the same for an old Poke trainer like myself, so I'm giving it 2.5 out of 5 rubber chickens.
Honestly, this is exactly the game that I wanted. An updated version of the best Pokemon experience I've had. I'm giving it 5 out of 5 rubber chickens. Hey, do you reckon we can catch Darren with one of these things?
Ooh, good question. Hey, Darren.